evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with my great friends, Tree McDougal, Tim Turner. Come to you on a Tuesday evening. Man, I hope everybody's having a great start to the week. Good to see you, Tim. Good to see you, Tree. Um,
You too. Is it just the
before
start of the week? Feels like a Friday to me for some reason.
retirement feels every day feels like Saturday. I got up play
It's
golf this morning. Got
just
up play golf.
Tuesday. Hmm.
But things are on fire here in Motown. We got a baseball team that's actually a game and a half ahead of the Twins and a half
Mm,
game ahead of the Royals for a playoff spot. So
cool.
pigs
I'm,
do fly,
I'm thrilled.
Tim Turner.
I'm thrilled for you guys, man, because it's been a long time coming. A
How
long time.
long? How long has it been? How long?
2016. Actually, they should have won the World Series in 2012 for all that great pitching and Cabrera in his prime, and they blew that uh, series. So
Hmm.
it's been a while. But, I was teasing Tim before we went on the air. I know he doesn't know how to act because the Braves are usually 10 games up, everything clinched, on
Resting,
vacation to the playoff start.
yeah, resting people. Everybody sitting up there and eating popcorn in the stands.
Hmm.
It's nothing.
How is the town taking this on? Because once again, the Braves have had a ton of injuries. To
Well,
just
the way it's taken is like this. It's too much going on in town.
okay.
You got this week. You got the weekend. You got Georgia's playing at Alabama. Everybody's got their mind on that, and then you got the Braves in a do or die series with the Mets. They're up right now 5-0. I think in the
Who's
fifth,
up 5-0?
the
The
Braves are up.
Braves. Okay.
Yes, and you got the Falcons. People are still griping about the officiating on that game and and the offensive coordinator and how they should have won that game. And now turning eyes toward next Sunday, where there's going to be some serious fights in Mercedes-Benz Stadium because they're playing the New Orleans Saints. So
Ah, yes.
there could be problems. So
So,
uh,
so are the Braves losing their place in Atlanta sports?
no, this still.
Atlanta sports hierarchy, they're most successful franchise by far.
Well, folks are pretty much giving them up for dead early on. You lost your top pitcher, Spencer Strider, like in April. You lost Ronald Acuna for the season with a
Right now,
torn
yeah.
knee. And then just found out today, third baseman um, is going to be out for the season. He broke
Hmm.
his broke his broke his wrist, and it was they thought it was healing too slowly, is what was going on. So they said it hadn't healed sufficiently. So he is gone for the season. So
That's
Dang.
unfortunate.
so pretty much everybody was like, yeah, this season's over. We're dead in the water. Uh, no matter what's happening, I mean, it's just awful, awful, awful for us. So,
Always next season.
yeah,
Looking ahead.
but we're not used to saying this always next season. We're used to being right in the middle of it. So, losing Austin Riley, the third baseman, has been just he had 30 home runs last year and over 100 RBI. So, Strider was I think was a top strikeout guy in Major League Baseball last year. The Braves the past 3 years have had the top winner, top guys the most victories and the most strikeouts the past 3 years. Because you're gonna have Chris Sale do that this year, but Strider was supposed to be the ace of the staff, and he went out early. So, folks pretty much had tempered aspirations. That they're even in it the last week of the season is incredible on their part. And you think about these other teams, there's a bigger story behind that. The Mets have been on fire the second half of the season. Minnesota's still at the Kansas City Royals. When's the last time you heard the Royals are in anything? The Royals are in it, and the Royals close out the regular season here in Atlanta, and they've been playing super. So The Padres have been outstanding. Padres are one of the best teams in baseball right now, but they're quietly going up. So uh, there are a lot of other stories you can look at besides the one here, which has been, yeah, whatever. That's pretty much the mindset. Yeah, whatever. Whatever we do is gravy. So
Yeah, well, I'm always cheering for Atlanta. I grew up watching Milo Hamilton and listening to him. And that's all we could do down in Nashville at that time. Hey, I want us to have talk a little HBCU football. And Tim, I was reading your notes. I am not surprised the first note you had was North Carolina Central defeating North Carolina A&T 66-24 because the coach was made no mistake about how he felt.
Gloating, yes.
Yeah, gloating. Gloating is a nice way to put it, but it's like, yeah, they beat us like we stole something when my first year here.
Trash talking.
Yes, I take no pity on them coming back around. I think that was outstanding that happened in the Aggie Classic.
I wouldn't say it was outstanding because I'm team Aggies.
You missed A&T, so okay.
Well, Trey Oliver, the coach at North Carolina Central, was very happy about his team's 66-24 destruction of North Carolina A&T over the weekend. Because in his first year, I think it was it COVID year 2019?
Yeah,
it was 52-0.
Right.
To A&T. And what was that? It was A&T's last game of being an MEAC. So after the game, Oliver said, "I'm definitely pleased to see this. My first year here was the worst loss in school history. For us to come back a couple of years later for the most points they ever had scored on them, that kind of rights the ship a little bit."
Yeah. But
yeah.
No, I have friends from both schools, so congratulations to them. But yeah, I could see why he's super excited based on that past history that he had. But moving on.
Yeah, you like them on the other side. Yeah, let's move on. That was yesterday.
On to the next game.
Central led 40-12 at halftime.
Tim, still going with it. What at halftime, Ricky?
It was 40-12.
And then what happened?
A&T has had one of the most solid HBCU programs in recent years. But does anybody have any problem with the coach?
No.
Not at all.
See, that's the thing about HBCUs. The coaches there are, I'm not going to say they're not media trained, but they have no filter irrespective of the media training that they get. One year, Texas Southern was playing Alcorn, and there was some sort of animus between Texas Southern's coach and Cleophas Danzy, the head coach at Alcorn. And the Texas Southern coach said, we want to go in there and beat their behinds. And said, I hope this is the game that gets him fired. You don't hear that when Alabama plays Georgia or LSU plays Notre Dame or anything like that. Those coaches are far more guarded. You don't hear the smack that you hear from teams like they're in the MEAC and SWAC. I guess you got to have an AC and something in the back of your conference. But
well, check this out. I'm sorry, Trey, but this is
okay.
I love it because I think that's one of the things that the HBCUs have traditionally had, these personalities and these characters coaching and leading their teams. Jake Gaither and Big John that were trash talkers, and like I said, Central was up 40-12 at halftime. And even in the fourth quarter, they were throwing the ball, and the reporter asked Coach Oliver, "Why were you still throwing in the fourth quarter?" He said, well, they should have run the ball. They threw the ball the whole fourth quarter. The quarterbacks are running the ball, getting hurt. Run the ball. Get out of here. But they want to play 60. We can play for 60.
Yeah.
Coach Brown, Vincent Brown, talked last year about the little school down the road, talking about Central. Brown is the A&T coach, and we'll never have whatever they have and whatever it takes. So they can take this 66 back to Greensboro.
There you have it.
Put that on the bus and take it back to Greensboro.
So I think next year's game will be quite saucy.
Absolutely. And they'll get 5,000. Coach just got them 5,000 more spectators.
You know it.
Tree McDougal for next year's game. Tree and Reg will be sitting up in the stands.
Putting the voodoo on Central.
Yeah, I like that, man.
Like I said, those guys are colorful. Coach Robinson, Eddie Robinson, I guess toward the end, is when I caught him toward the end of his career. All you have to do is say, "Hey, Coach," and he would talk for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah.
and it won't be trash talk. It'll be like minor digs, nothing really abrasive. But there's some others out there like Archie Cooley when he at his height when he was head coach at Mississippi Valley when he had Willie Totten and Jerry Rice. You know, guys like that used to talk a lot, big games. So I miss this.
Right.
I miss coaches talking like this.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
See, had the score been different, you'd have a quite different attitude, I'm quite sure.
Probably.
Yes.
It's a good chance I would, yes.
There you go.
But no, it's again, congratulations to them. But yeah. You got more? What else you got?
There's a ton more HBCU football.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's all these results. You got folks up here. I think that we had a victory in the Hampton, the H Bowl, where Hampton defeats Howard 27-20. Good about that.
Yeah.
But he
Savannah State won as well. Did I see that?
I think you did see that, but that's a rarity. It's like Hallie's comment. So good for them that they did do their thing.
They
beat Tuskegee, which is I think it was one of those classics. I'm not sure, but yeah.
So what, Ricky?
How about Morehouse and Coach Terrence Mathis getting his first win at the 26th annual Chicago Football Classic? Morehouse 31, Kentucky State 28.
Yes,
and Tim would like this. Morehouse got a 24-yard touchdown pass from Scott, quarterback Miles Scott to Maurice Vaney with 10 seconds left to secure the victory. I am happy. Hey, that is a long losing streak, doesn't it, Tim?
Not really. It's only like it was start the season 0-2, 0-3 because they lost. They always win the last game of the season when they beat Clark. But see, that streak may end this year, given that Clark had an incredible victory. They came from behind and beat Bethune-Cookman, which still blows me away because they were getting drilled when I was watching the game, so I turned away from it to watch some more competitive games, only to see that they kicked a field goal to win it as time expired. So congratulations to Clark Atlanta. And I think they're 3-0 maybe, or 2-1, something like that. They're having a good season because they had not won a game, I think, the last 2 seasons. So
wow.
Something like that.
I'm looking at the notes here. It says Clark is 3-0-1.
3-0.
Can you still have a tie in?
I don't think you can have a tie.
Yeah, I'll check that as we go through the night.
I think that might be a typo.
Yeah, that maybe they're 3-1. And we're not going to talk about Johnson C. Smith defeating Virginia Union because
why not?
Because they cheated the whole game.
You know what?
I didn't see a single play, and I know they cheated because they beat Virginia Union.
Oh.
Congratulations to the Golden Bulls. They took my boys down.
They're 4-0, man. Come on,
Yeah,
give them what they want.
yeah, they're full.
Your Golden Bulls.
The Golden Bulls. And hey, kudos to Norfolk State beating BMI.
That was a big one. That's
Yeah,
two
pretty
huge
soundly.
upsets.
I'm good with that.
32-10.
I wonder what that. See, that had to have been a check game, and people got to,
Yeah,
those type of wins right there, losses help solidify you with the moving van people.
yeah,
So you're not supposed to lose those.
absolutely. Hey, and this isn't HBCU football, but the most shocking score to me over the weekend was North Carolina getting 70 put on them.
Yes.
I am surprised Mac Jones did not get fired.
That was the 70-50. They got who beat? I'm trying to think who beat them.
Oh yeah, that game. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. I saw the halftime score. Like, wait a minute, this can't be right.
James Madison.
Yeah, James Madison. Yeah, they just did what they
James
wanted.
Madison had 53 in the first half.
Right.
And didn't they pay them to come there to play?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And got beat on their own field.
On their own field by
so
20.
much.
And then you think, well, we lost by 20, but it's like, yeah, but they scored 70.
Mm-hmm.
And James Madison, I believe, just made the jump to Division I football because they were 1AA FCS now.
Well, I think this is their second year in FCS or the one up whatever in the big division FBS. This is their second year. Last year they thought they had a chance to make the playoffs, and they didn't. This year with 12 teams, I understand the best team from the rest of the teams gets a guaranteed spot, and James Madison is up there with that. So,
and wasn't there another? Was it North Carolina State that? What do you remember? Didn't they have like a blowout as well, or?
They got
State got blown out by a Clemson.
Yeah. I was like,
it was a bad week to be in North Carolina.
Yeah, it was a bad week. Bad
So
week for Carolina State. Yeah, I was like,
I'm sure everybody there's getting ready for football. Hey, Grambling beat Jackson State 41-20. I'm not surprised Grambling won. I'm surprised they won by that number.
Yeah. And they got a big game coming up. See, this is where you talk about these real classics. So this is my wild guess. I think, unless they've screwed up the schedule with Texas and Oklahoma being in the SEC, this is probably that weekend. Texas plays Oklahoma in Dallas because this is also the weekend. Grambling and Prairie View, they play every year in the old Cotton Bowl, not the Jerry Jones Stadium, but the actual Cotton Bowl. So. That's always a great classic, and generally it's a great game because it's just an automatic rivalry.
And that's one of the well-attended classics, right?
Yes.
Hey, any idea how many were in Chicago for that game?
It looked like, I thought it said like 35,000 or something to that effect.
Wow.
The video that I saw from the game, the lower bowl was full. But it's like it's a tri-level. It's lower bowl, sliver of suites. Upper deck is how with the stuff I saw, and there was nobody in the upper deck, but the lower bowl and people in the suites were there. So I was surprised. I'm like, who wants to see Kentucky State in Chicago? I'm not raising my hand.
That's better than what I thought, man, for sure.
Yeah. It's interesting how they have all these classes and how these contracts set up. From what I understand, Morehouse lost to Johnson C. Smith in Atlanta, and I was really looking forward to going to Charlotte next year because it was a home and home type thing. Evidently, the person who runs the city sports program in Boston is an alum either of Morehouse or J.C. Smith. Next year, Morehouse and Johnson C. Smith are playing on Harvard's campus.
Ooh.
Next year. Whoa. So I'm like, yeah, Boston.
Whoa,
so that's going to be interesting.
That's interesting.
You going? You going?
No, I'm staying here with the Morehouse of the South I'm not going to go up to the Morehouse of the North, which is what Harvard is.
There you go.
Okay.
So I'll
I'm
stay down
with
here.
that.
Well, last year was the last year before last. We played them in basketball. They were D1 and Morehouse is D2, and they pulled away and smoked us in the second half. And I thought that was interesting. It speaks to, one, the crowd wasn't very big because what? It wasn't publicized. And what? This year Morehouse doesn't have an SID. So what? You're not going to hear anything about a whole lot of things because that's how HBCUs go. They just,
What happened to the SID?
But I understand whatever it was, she was let go before the season started. But it's like that's always the optimal time to let go of the sports information director.
Oh, of course.
Before the season starts. Smart move.
And they're talking about going to Division One.
Still, the drumbeat for Division One. I mean, my goodness, I had to send links to my different friends who are alums because the Morehouse Tuskegee game is a classic, and it's generally played. The last 3 years it was in Birmingham. It had always been played in Columbus. On the school's website, it had the game being played at Tuskegee.
Tim, there's an opportunity for you to work at your.
And I said, this right here, and I circled it. I said, this makes no sense. This is like not caring right here.
Right.
And then one of the former football players got in touch with somebody there on campus, and they changed it. But it had been up there for like months.
How come you didn't call somebody?
Because I would not have been kind.
Hey, Tim, have you had a chance to visit with Coach Mathis at all?
I have not, because I haven't had the access that I've had in the past. I hope to be there this Saturday. They play Benedict at home, and I sent them a congratulations text on the first game. Good luck, but they got smoked nonetheless. So I'm trying not to be the jinx.
You're the jinx.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he knows exactly what he's doing, man. He will do a good job. I mean, the whole thing, guys, is being able to recruit players and retain players nowadays. Because
the retaining is the hard part. See, that's the thing that all these old heads who've quit the game because they no longer have all the hands. It's this NIL is thinking like, well, what are you gonna pay me? Saw a kid last night with the Kansas City's fullback. He started off. When they do the introductions during it, he named both schools that he went to. I mean, how many people do that?
People gonna start doing that too.
I thought I've heard that before, though. Yeah, I've heard that. I thought I've heard that before we talked.
Well, not so much like people talk about high schools or their cities or whatever, but it's like he said, Joe Smith, Baylor, LSU. Dude, giving your whole resume there, but I think with NIL it's a lot tougher because everybody has a new quarterback this year, and they always talk about where the last place that these kids played, which really blows me away. Like Florida State's quarterback is a kid who's been to Clemson, Washington State. He's been like to 2 or 3 different schools. Florida State like his 3rd or 4th one, and you wonder at some point. Do they automatically always accept class credits at all these schools? Is that what happens? They can keep bouncing around like this?
Yeah. I don't think they care how many credits they get. A lot of these guys,
They don't care about that.
That's right.
They're just trying to get to the next level of.
Yes, exactly.
You keep doing all of that, but interesting.
You know what? I can't wait for us to get to NFL because what I saw last night in Cincinnati with Jaden Daniels, man, he was superb.
He only missed on 2 passes, and he threw 2 touchdowns. He ran well. He was excellent, and I think the best part about last night is that. He is my starting quarterback for my fantasy team. Everybody, whatever the computer picked, talking about my team that gave me a D-, used my pick of Daniels as an example of why I got a D-.
Wow.
He's proving everybody wrong. I also have Christian McCaffrey. Thank you. And I've gotten from him this year. Yeah.
You know what? His injury is a little concerning, man.
You have to think about it. The 49ers are in trouble.
Yeah.
That game, how they lost to the Rams Sunday was just unconscionable. It was a bad loss to lose on being up big and then losing on field goal late. The NFL had a lot of interesting games, like the same with the Packers being up big against the Cowboys and having to hold on to win. But it's always a good Sunday when the Cowboys lose. So.
That's not what Jerry Jones said.
You're right.
Always. Yes.
Always good.
I think it was. I forgot what the quote was, but not happy.
Not happy.
Not happy. Fans not happy. Nobody there is happy.
You know, the other day, Monday, I was just clicking the TV, and I went around, clicked through the morning sports shows, and I was saying, how long is it going to take me to see them talking about Dallas? Immediately, they were already talking about Dallas on ESPN. I went over to the I guess that's FS1 or Fox station.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, they were talking about, like, dude, I don't want to hear about them all day.
But you know what? They've done such a. I mean, that is a masterclass. That organization, a masterclass in how you just get paid and make money and go crazy. Jara bought that team, I think, for $500 million, maybe. Back in the day, several years ago. It is the most the most expensive franchise in sports. I think they're worth $11 billion.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And it's like they don't have to win. People still
gonna
love
say
Here's what Jerry Jones bought it for, Tree. What do you think he paid for it in 1989, Tree?
What did he pay for it? I have no idea. Tell me.
Tim, 1989 is when he purchased the team.
I thought it was like $500 million. Is that too high?
A little high.
I was thinking that was a lot.
According to Business Insider, Jerry Jones purchased the Cowboys for $140 million. The sale marked the first time anyone had ever paid more than $100 million for a team sport.
$140 million.
Yeah. Think about, you got players that cost more than that, Tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got players. So what is it worth today? How much?
It says $10 billion.
That's a good investment.
10.1 billion. That's what I said. I was off by 11. I was overdoing it, overcooking those numbers. 150, and now it's turned over to be 10.1 billion with a B.
I think that's a good investment, don't you?
Oh, I think it is.
Hey,
got a new stadium, a new practice facility out there. All the ribs you can eat. I don't know, something. They got all of it out there.
Hey,
cheerleaders. Cheerleaders making movies.
Many movies about the cheerleaders. You know, you got that kind of foolishness.
You got a $10 billion team and a defense worth $1.50.
Ouch. Ouch.
Wow.
Okay, 275.
Okay, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, man. That is it is just utterly amazing. Hey, but watching that game last night again, Jaden Daniels was just superb. And man, I think you gotta have a quarterback that can move.
That goes without saying. I think had America's team in Atlanta had a quarterback that could move on 4th and 2, they would have done something a little bit more creative than that crazy play they ran at the end of the game. If this dude had any inkling, they didn't have to worry about the quarterback sneak. He wasn't going to stick his nose up in there. None of that. So that, you see those type of stuff, those type of games. But Daniels was the highlight of the weekend. another highlight last night was Hamlin's interception against Jacksonville. I mean, because it's like, almost 2 years ago on that very field they were playing on in Cincinnati, the other game that people thought he was gone. I know I did.
Yeah.
But
I felt like everything just stopped, where everybody just stopped to watch,
right,
and pray, and whatever it is they could do. But I think it was so fun and great to see him catch that interception, and the joy. Not just, I mean, he was super happy, but you could tell everybody there was happy for him as well.
And I love that young man. I love his attitude. But does his interception really count if he gets one off Trevor Lawrence?
Oh, no. There were several. That's pretty much like
let him have his joy.
What happened to this dude, man?
What happened to him is he doesn't have the same weapons that he normally had. I think that's what happened. And that defense had no answer for Josh Allen. Allen is really a great quarterback, outstanding. He is top tier. And the Cook kid out of Georgia had a big night running the ball. They haven't missed a beat, having Stephon Diggs go to Houston or anything there at their offense. They look like they're really sharp and they're not having any problem. The team in that division, the AFC North, that is going to have a problem is the Miami Dolphins. You got Tua out for 3 more weeks. Their backup quarterback yesterday got knocked out, and they were playing a dude who was probably bagging groceries at Publix before this week. So they're on their 3rd string quarterback right now. They got to get somebody off the street who can play. I know
Suit up, Tim. Suit up.
No, I'll abdicate my position to Desmond Ridder, former Falcon pick, who got cut by the Cardinals in preseason because he wasn't all that. But I'm quite sure that they need a warm body with some game experience out there in Miami.
He's not on the roster?
No, so he got cut. The final cut of the season, Arizona cut him.
Not even a practice squad somewhere? Yeah, I'd go get him.
He's doing nothing right now.
Yeah.
That was so. In staying in the vein with Miami, although for the general point, one of their greats, Mercury Morris, passed. I think he was 77. He was part of that 17-0 team that they had back in the day, and he let you know it because, I mean, for all the greatness that he had as a player, he's become quite obnoxious in retirement. He had every time a team who was undefeated lost, you have a picture of Mercury somewhere sitting right there popping a cork on champagne, being glad that their record still stands, which is remarkable that nobody has had an undefeated season. Nobody. Closest was the Patriots that year they played. Was that the Colts with the helmet catch?
The Giants beat them.
The Giants beat them. Beat New England. And the Patriots had a chance to go be perfect, and he lost that Super Bowl. So, he was a great back. It was Kick, Zonka, and Morris. Those running backs, Paul Warfield at their receiver, Jim Mandich, tight end, Bob Greasy, and Earl Morrill at QB, Gary Yepremian, their top kicker. Man, those back in the day. That made me think about my electric football game back in the day. I had the Dolphins and the Chiefs were my teams back then. So it's just it's a big loss for the Dolphin family, part of their history. So remembering him this week.
Absolutely. And Tua is supposed to be back in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
that will be interesting to see if that really occurs. I know.
I wonder if his money's guaranteed, because this is the thing. Twice I've seen this kid hit. Twice I've seen him lay on the ground and his limbs seize up. And that's when he got hit the last time. I said, not again, because it looked just like the time before. You can't take too many of those hits to the head. I think that's what drove our Aikman out of the game, wasn't it? He had too many concussions. So, quality of life, people. Thinking of quality of life.
Do you think he would have a contract that was not guaranteed, or?
One of these McDougal's checks in that says, "Forget Ritter, trade for Wilson." Hey,
That's a great call. That's a great call. That is great.
Absolutely.
Russ is not going to win back his job. He's Fields has a solid grip on that, being 3-0, and he's looked great in all 3 games. Russ needs to heal up his calf and going down the road. Or Pittsburgh should try to swing a deal for him, or the Dolphins should. But that's a great call.
Hey, but you know what? You think about it. Well, right now scoring is down throughout the league. I think teams are averaging right at 20 points a game so far. I think I heard this year where it was around 22 or 23 at this point last year. But we have been watching some poor performances from the quarterback position. Trevor Lawrence was just terrible last night. Daniel Jones has struggled. Some guys, Bryce Young, second-year player, he looks terrible the first 2 weeks. Andy Dalton comes in, puts up 36 on what people thought was a pretty good defense in Las Vegas with the Raiders. By the way, Antonio Pierce didn't mince words when he said his team quit. He said, you got guys out there making business decisions. This transition, Caleb Williams can't miss quarterback, and I think he is going to be a good player. But he's struggling now. Do you guys have any thoughts on why we're seeing the scoring down a little bit and some of these guys struggling so much?
I'm sure Tim does. Go.
No, my thing is I want to go back to Bryce Young. I think the ownership of the Panthers is just trash. It absolutely is. They have been through player after player after player.
And coach.
They're making poor decisions. They had 3 or 4 coaches. This kid has not had to settle on the offensive coordinator in a couple of years. He's been there 2 years. He got beat up last year with a sorry offensive line. He gets beat up again this year with a new coordinator. They got a new coach again this year. But the constant with all this turmoil, they gave a king's ransom for Bryce Young, and what I'm understanding is that wasn't really a football decision that was made elsewhere. The football people
who would be making that elsewhere? Who's making that?
The person whose name is on the checks, possibly. Is what the intimation is he is he's meddlesome, and meddlesome owners generally don't do well in this league. See Dallas Cowboys, who have, you don't know the name of most of these owners. You don't know their names.
True.
You know the name of an owner. He's in the way. Jerry, Teller, those type of guys. Especially when you're not winning. So you would hope that what's the Sam Darnold, the quarterback? He couldn't play in Carolina. He's undefeated in Minnesota. Baker Mayfield could not play in Carolina. Went to Tampa. They won the division last year, got in the playoffs, and they started off 2-0 this year.
Ah.
Yeah. Another one, Deshaun Watson.
And
he has not played.
Okay, and that's another one. I think it's Lerner. I know the name of the ownership there in Cleveland. I think it's Lerner, if I'm not wrong on that. And they made a poor decision by giving Deshaun all that money because they have not done anything in Cleveland.
I thought the Cleveland
contract is fully guaranteed, though.
Yeah.
The Cleveland ownership, the truck stop guy.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry, what?
People who own the truck stops.
Jimmy Haslam.
That's what it has. Not learned. Jimmy Haslam. Yes.
Yeah. He
another bad guys. Bad decision makers.
The next time you stop in the pilot while you're on the road, I know we have
Okay. I
You
see what
know
you're saying.
that they've been supplanted down here in a major way by this beaver.
Bucky's.
Bucky's is run amok down here.
True. So Mr. McDougal says David Tepper is also is a
And he's
meddling.
That's what he
absolutely,
said. Tepper. And there he is in
Reg is
Carolina.
absolutely right.
You got Tepper and the guy in Cleveland and in Dallas. So 3 teams with meddlesome folk, and they can't get out of their own way. So they're not doing well. It's not always the player's performance. Like I said, Darnold looks like he could be MVP this year in Minnesota. He's already they've never had a 3-0 start with Kirk Cousins at quarterback in Minnesota. And I think it's 6 seasons in.
Hey, you know what?
On his first go out.
Speaking of another Viking quarterback, Brett Favre. Yeah,
yeah.
Brett Favre played with the Vikings. Testified on the Hill the day before U.S. Congress, and revealed that he's been diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Yeah, is that why the money that's meant for those other people went went elsewhere? Is that going to be the reason why? Is that supposed to keep him? Is that supposed to keep him away from suffering consequences for what happened?
Yeah. Well, let me read a little bit of this. He says, sadly, he's testified before the House Ways and Means Committee as part of an ongoing investigation into potential misuse of taxpayer money. And while he was testifying, and that goes back to the volleyball team, and there was a new arena that they were building or something.
Yeah, I think he said his daughter played volleyball at Southern Miss, and he helped secure funding for a new volleyball facility, if I'm not mistaken. I'm hoping
I think it was volleyball. Yes.
It was. And well, he said, this is Favre speaking. Sadly, I lost it in an investment company that I believe was developing a breakthrough concussion drug I thought would help others. And I'm sure you'll understand why it's too late for me, because I've recently been diagnosed with Parkinson's.
So what you're saying, Tim, is God don't like ugly?
What I'm saying is, yeah, that still has nothing to do with what happened. It's a separate thing, and I know people who have had it, and it's the ravages of it, and it's not anything that's to really be joking about, and it's a serious thing for Brett.
Yeah, and
that was
well in that regard. We wish him well.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding, he did what he did, or he's alleged to have done what he did, and that is the situation. He wouldn't be in Washington if there wasn't a problem. So put it that way. I thought you were going to go with another Minnesota quarterback who said Patrick Mahomes is not doing anything that he didn't do. Fran Tarkenton said that this week. And I want to say, Fran, Patrick Mahomes' 3 Super Bowl rings are on line 1. Because those are 3 things you didn't do or haven't done. So, yeah.
Why would he even say that? Who asked him to weigh in on that?
I don't know why anybody would ask him, but that is insane to compare what he did to what Mahomes is doing.
I honestly, I do see some of Fran's movement.
Well, the scrambling, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's the end of the conversation.
Right, the end.
Yeah.
He was able to run around. That's what Teresa. He was able to run around, and that was it.
And he'd run around and make a play too, but nothing. Yeah. Nothing.
Don't ever let those words come out your mouth again, sir.
Nothing, dude.
Ever. No, he's not the same. And see, I get in trouble with these old heads when I think, to me, Walter Payton was the greatest running back in the history of the National Football League. Then you get all these old heads who are like Jim Brown. That's the way it feels like to me. He's like,
I,
I don't
I
know about you, bro.
give me either one of them dudes, man. Give me either one of them dudes. It's like a music choice. The OJs, the Temptations. I mean, give me either one of them, man. I mean,
Frankie Beverly, or I don't know. I got nothing.
Uncle Charlie.
Uncle Charlie. Okay.
Come on, here we go.
Hey, but
Uncle Charlie of the Gap Band.
you know what? We need to go back to the most exciting college football game played over the weekend. I forgot all about it.
Ah, yes.
You know what? Colorado is not a very good football team, but they might be the most exciting football team in the country.
You nailed it, because I think they don't play football well at all, which is why I turned away from it, because they're getting ready to get blown out. Again, one of these teams, you think like, man, I hate to see it. It's like you hate to see it, but you want to see it, because Deion does not make it easy to love that team.
He doesn't. Man.
It's something about him. This is just
some
like
of these norms, man. I mean, you got to show a little more respect to the media. I can understand. I'm sure I have a media bias after 35 years doing it, but some respect belongs in the game. But in terms of plays, it's a couple of guys out there. Everybody saw the ending of this play here.
Here we go. Last play of the game.
Last play of the game.
Doink. Yeah.
Wow. That's Shadur Sanders, Deion's son, with a Hail Mary to get the game into overtime. What a great
catch.
Yes.
And at the same time, you get looking at that, he's like, yes, Shadur Sanders is outstanding. He is. Travis Hunter is otherworldly.
Absolutely.
And I was talking with somebody the other day about Hunter, and he may not be the best wide receiver in college football. He may not be the best cornerback. Look at the hops of this cheerleader here next time we show.
Yeah.
She's a foot off the ground. But he is for sure the most exciting player. And I've never seen a better two-way player than Travis Hunter.
Right. I wanted to try to say that Deion rated as that, but Deion did not have the amount of plays on offense.
Yeah.
He was just a kick returner type dude. And Charles Woodson the same way, just returning kicks. They weren't the offensive juggernauts.
And they would throw some screens, get them the ball in space. But this guy's running routes, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think one service said he was that you that told me about it?
Yeah, it's like a service said he was a number 3 receiver and number 3 DB in next year's draft.
Come on, man.
Hunter.
And look at this fight.
To be number 3 in two on offense and defense, come on.
And then he saves the game,
right?
With a tackle that forces just textbook shoulder on the ball.
Yep.
He is outstanding.
100 steps again. But we were talking about Deion earlier. I think some of Deion's pettiness with the media could cost this kid.
I was going to say the same thing. It's like, dude, forget you and your little pitiful little battles with the media. And he was right when I'll give Deion props on this. Yeah, he was right when he said it used to be sports writers, and I know we would never really hammer kids in college because they're kids in college. They're not pros. Now that they're making money,
right?
People are a little bit more not unforgiving about this. And then Deion made a point. There's some kids out there making more money than a sports writer.
Right.
And there's some resentment there. And you know there is, especially because these are kids of color.
Right.
And it's predominantly white media out there.
And,
so you know that they're making a big deal out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is, we're going to have to keep an eye out for that because I don't even think it's close who the the best college football player in the country is this year.
Right. And that's what the Heisman's supposed to be, the best college football player, not the guy who puts up the most stats at quarterback.
Okay, we got to give Reggie a talk show because
You can take my place.
Ross has gone way back.
He goes way back in the stack with the St. Louis Cardinals with Jim Hart.
Yes.
With Jim Hart and the Cardinals.
Yes.
So
And Roy Green, and he was a beast on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely, he was.
I'm gonna have to look on Roy.
You have to bring him on as a guest.
Yeah, we definitely got to get Reg on the show, man. But hey, if you're an NFL team, what do you do with this guy?
Playing both ways, just like the Falcons did with Deion. And see that when Deion was rolling around, people looked at him for being selfish for that one day where he played afternoon game with Falcons beating Miami, took a private plane to New York to play in the World Series the same night.
And got a hit.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, if you got the talent, do it.
Well, I guess had they not seen, well, it's not that they hadn't seen it before. Maybe it was just Deion's way of.
Well, yeah, because he was brash.
I was gonna say, yeah, they don't like that.
No. Humility.
Shut up and dribble, right?
You got to be humble. Got to stay humble, unless you're Muhammad Ali.
Right, yeah. Do you have to?
Yeah, but that's the thing. People don't. There's a thing about anybody that is self-assured or self-possessed. There's a problem. I understand. Going into the politics thing that people were talking about. Kamala Harris's husband needs to chill her out to have her be more humble.
Who said that? Nobody wants that.
Weeks ago, that was said that she's too brash, and I thought that was crazy. That her husband needed to like pull her aside and say, "Hey,
tone it down." No,
exactly. I don't understand that. Nobody's ever told a dude to tone it down,
right?
Especially that other dude. Nobody's
that just makes me mad now. I'm just like, what?
Skip that, man.
What the heck?
Hey, but if you get a Travis Hunt, I know it depends on your team needs, but what do you think has more value, the wide receiver position or the corner position?
Hmm.
And a lot of it depends on what you got, because in general.
I still depends on what you got. I don't think there is any in general. It's like if you have a need for a receiver, that's your receiver. You got a need for some deficit in the DBs. He's a defensive back. He probably could even be a kick returner for what it's worth. I mean, he's absolutely.
There's no limits on that dude's game, man. Yeah.
No.
Are you going to talk about WNBA at all?
Yeah, because this hour's already gone by, and we have a MVP.
Yes. Talk about the ladies.
How about Asia Wilson and what she's been able to do?
Well, she's taking some of the shine off of Clark, because people get up there, just automatically, reflexively.
Give me that.
Yeah, just to zip line past that, but she's been great. Okay, we had some playoff games tonight, and the Atlanta Dream have been eliminated. They lost to the New York Liberty 91-82. That means so it's a best of 3 series. So they're out. And you got one more game tonight where Seattle is at Las Vegas, and Vegas is up 1-0. It's coming toward the end of the first quarter where the Las Vegas Aces are up 28-20. So
I heard that. Go ahead, Ricky. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ricky.
I'm sorry, Tree. I was just going to say the headline tomorrow, Atlanta's dream becomes a nightmare.
Yes. I think that will be it, sir.
Nightmare? I was just going to say, I heard that Caitlin got poked in the eye. So you guys hear that? But by another player. But what I heard was then, people want to make it about race. It's like, oh, they're picking on her.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just like,
Huh?
everything's not always about race. I'm like,
How about just an errant finger?
and
How about
she
that?
said, accordingly, I understand that she said, no, it's, as she always does, this is part of the game. You get injured, you're playing hard.
And see, that's the thing about her. She has never tried to, lean into the woe is me about anything at all. She's just playing ball. She's not self-aggrandizing at all, which is what you respect that about her. Her team is down one game to none to the Connecticut Sun, and they play tomorrow night. They also have another game tomorrow night. Will be Phoenix is at Minnesota. So,
well, I tell you, this young lady Wilson though is just, she's got everything. Great suggest, another shot block. But you know what I love seeing? I saw it tonight. There's I think CarMax has a national commercial featuring Wilson and some of the other WNBA stars. And they're all in this little compact car that's Asia's, and they're getting on it because they just squeezed in there. And that's kind of the premise. Hey, why don't you go on CarMax and buy you a new car? But to see that is tremendous. And they ever get in to get, and Clark plays a role in that for sure.
absolutely. I saw some graphic where the combined something like one ticket price for combined NBA games or WNBA games was $137 and or something like that, and then one game for the Sun was $137, where you had like 4 or 5 different games in one side. So people want to see Caitlin Clark, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody else, it's nothing wrong with that at all. She's a superior talent, and she's earned everything that she's gotten this year.
And it's been good for the game because now we're getting to see. Because I didn't know how good Wilson was. So I watched the Olympics this year, and I've been really keeping an eye on her now. But man, we are already out of time. It's been a great, packed hour.
Thanks, Reg.
I was going to say, let's thank Mr. McDougal for watching and chiming in.
Absolutely. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks. We got the big debate next Tuesday, so we'll take off again before my friends Tim Turner and Tree McDougal. I'm Rick Hampton.
All right, be kind, everybody. Have a good night.
All right, good night.